a slave away. No, no fun, no corporate Babylon. I'm never gonna be a pawn in their manipulation games. I'm taking the reins and breaking the chains. I'm never gonna kneel away. A prophetess heaven sent, no preacher, no president, gonna lead us astray. We never know. Swallow. I could, you know, I would throw my guitar out of my back, pick up the slack, leave here tomorrow. But at the time upon of Babylon, I got to face the fact, embrace the axe, cut these chains of my sorrow. So I'm on a permanent holiday. I'm going outside to play. I ain't gonna slave away, no, no fun, no corporate Babylon. I'm never gonna be upon in their manipulation games. 10,000 years of captivity, we must eventually open up our eyes and see their manipulating we with so much uncertainty and so many mysteries. Why are so few questioning the natural state of things? It's a nightmare, we're living in a nightmare. Everyone's living so scared, they're virtually unaware of this fear that rules their lives, occupies, consumes their minds. This fear of bankruptcy, financial impotency. It's money, 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 money. It's all this digital currency. Why? It's all this monopoly money that keeps us from ever being free. Oh, yeah. So it seems we'll be in this prison for life. 'Cause if we keep buying, then they'll keep selling the lies. And so it's up to I
Hello?
mind.
You're watching me. Okay, Bellini, thanks for watching. Hello. Welcome. Hi, Jerome.
Change.
How's it going, Jerome?
Words. I
Forced? Why are you saying forced in my chat, Nikon?
I live mind in I rev.
I can't complain. Good to hear.
I change.
I don't want to watch One Piece.
I be I be live life mind control in
Hold on, my cat wants it.
I sing rev lay make life celebrate. I be change see manifest words speak. I fuse be present. I make own sit. I be live life mind control in
Hi.
I sing.
Do you know I'm sad this morning? What's up, dude?
Celebrate. I be change see manifest words speak. I fuse be present. I make own sit. I be live lay mind control in day. I sing rev lay make life celebrate. I be change see manifest words speak. I fuse be present. I make own sit. I will be manipulated, mind control and inundated. I will seek the
Forces are handsome.
my life a
Word.
celebration. I will be the change I'm seeking, manifest the words I'm speaking. I refuse to be impressed. I will make my own decision. I will be manipulated, mind control and inundated. I will seek the revelation. Make my life a celebration. I will be the change I'm seeking, manifest the words I'm speaking. I refuse to be impressed. I will make my own decision. I won't be manipulated, mind control and inundated. I will seek the revelation. Make my life a celebration. I will be the change I'm seeking. manipulated, mind controlled and inundated. I would say the revelation made my life a celebration. I wanna be the change I'm seeking, manifest the words I'm speaking. I refuse to be imprisoned. I will make my only man a permanent holiday. I'm coming out Saturday. I ain't gonna slave away. No, no fun, no corporate Babylon. I'm never gonna be a pawn in their manipulation game. I'm taking the reins, I'm breaking the chains. I'm never gonna kneel. My prophet is heaven sent. No preacher, no president. Gonna lead us straight. We're never not to take it down. I'm never going astray. No, 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 no. I'm even the best of up in the past, 'cause we never here to stay. Oh.
Thanks for the follow, Trini.
We got to
Spotify. Whoa, whoa.
take back the power. We got to take back the knowledge. Yeah. We got to take back the power. Oh, yeah. We got to take back the knowledge. Take back the power. Take back what they have stolen from us. Yeah, we got to take back the esoteric knowledge. Clear the kingly crown of his trust. We got to take back the knowledge. Take back the power. Take back what they have stolen from us. We got to take back the knowledge. We got to take back the power, Lord. Until our name is deep in us above. We got to take back the knowledge. Or take back the power. As humanity, don't let this be our final hour. Take back the knowledge. Or take back the power. As humanity, don't let this be our final hour. Take back the knowledge. Or take back the power. As
Playlist for
humanity, this
Jamie.
be our final hour.
Yeah, the link didn't show up. Can you type it out? Cat. He's like, Mom, you sad? Guess what? I'm fucking here. Can you type out the name of it and I'll look it up? Oh, okay. Here, I can do that. After this song, I got you. Is Danny watching? Oh, hi, Danny.
Take back the power.
Hi, Etoile. I just woke up, so I'm like bedhead. I didn't get much sleep. Okay.
This video is sponsored by.
Oh, not that one. Chronic! My girl, what are you doing? Thankful for the follow. Alright guys, I'm still shedding my early morning existential dread. Don't mind me while I brush my hair and stuff. Good morning. Good morning? No, I am watching. Word, believe me. I hear you. What are the? Do you have a translation for the lyrics? Am I being trolled right now? It's just like you and me. I meant to just tone my hair, but I actually went balls to the wall, bright ass purple somehow. That's okay. Is that you, Danny? What the fuck? You're doing a whole ass flip, bro. You are insane. Good one, good one. Well. I love the sound of Eastern music. It's such good, like belly dancing music, like dance music. Pizza or hot sub? What's a hot sub? Like a meatball sub? No, like for real? Aw, thank you, Nicole. You're so sweet. How are you, love?
It's a crying shame. Pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed.
Need to brush my teethies. Ooh. Probably pizza over hot sub.
Bits of paper, twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a killer. His finger on the trigger of the money game. Oh, rain, 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 rain. The storm comes our way, and those who rise to distorted lies are poison in the main. We got to put the blame, 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 blame.
It's easier to blame. Thank you.
Put the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game.
This old money game. Chicken Alfredo or chicken Parmesan? Ooh, chicken Alfredo for sure. Yours is buzzed in purple. Nice. Aw, thank you. I'm just waking up for the morning. Keep this up away.
Everybody is coming to terrorize you in the trees. To say proudly through gritted teeth, it's my right.
I'm right to hate that freedom of speech. Aw, thank you for the roses, Louis attack. Thank you. 12 roses, thank you.
Irony and freedom, because
that's good shit.
We have pillars and put them the savages to the rest is called hypocrisy.
Thank you.
Never keep yourselves. Your country was inflamed. You demigrate yourselves in a second.
Still you spit your venom.
Demonizing
immigrants when really you're the immigrant.
Because all of us are immigrants or descended from immigrants. Irony is imminent. I'll shed the light on immigrants. So America was colonized by Britain. Britain, it was colonized by Rome. Also colonized by the Saxons. They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon the Germans.
Fellow Ren enjoyer Brent. How are you, my friend?
Demonize a whole people, Jewish or Muslim.
One of us. One of us.
Play and repeat. The same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we worship.
I'm on TikTok, Kick, Twitch, and YouTube.
Like sheep, there's no left, there's no right.
Cassie Catnip on everything, but Kick is Catnip. Thank you for the follow, Jenny. I did, Kellogg. I meant to just tone it, but like the toner was a little bit too purple. So we're rocking with it. It'll fade though. Oh my gosh, Louis, I just made a TikTok about whether or not my neck tattoo hurt. It's kind of funny. It's pretty recent. I made it like yesterday or something, if you want to check it out. Ooh, this old money game. How am I streaming to 4 platforms? So I have Lovin's streaming software installed on my OBS, and that's what I'm using. I used to pay for Restream, but fuck that, Lovin's is free. Fun fact, if you want me to like show you how, I can. Okay, wait, I'll sit back down and show dogs. My dogs are asleep in the other room. Let me play this song Trini wants, and then I will go brush on my teeth. We can do some more singing in a bit. Oh my god, Journey! What the fuck? What's up, Kellogg? Gaming, chatting, hanging? Chatting and hanging, maybe gaming? Does anyone want a game? You guys want to play some games? If so, what ones? More liberals. Is this the liberal theme song? I think Lowe's is more liberal than Home Depot. Or maybe Lowe's is more socialist? I don't know. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. How's the rest of chat doing? How are you, Charles? Damn, did that hurt? Yeah, the neck tattoo hurt. It done hurted. It done hurted, alright? This part more than this part. This part felt fucking weird, though. Felt really fucking weird. Alright, that Home Depot type beat. By the Dude 53. Up next on Catnip Radio, we got Money Game Part 2.
These counterfeit politicians sit in parliament, not adequate. Come on. Needlessly bleeding resources.
Oh my god. What are the options? We could League, we could RuneScape, we could what else do I got?
Only joking, only messing, don't be stressing. I'm a peaceful adolescent, there's no need to be unpleasant. Write my thesis in a rhyme scheme to analyze the brain while my fingers on the trigger of a money game. Right. The storm it comes our way, and no surprise to
why are you crying? Why are you crying, Chinoise? Vibing and doing homework? Oh, nice. I didn't know you were like in school, Charles. What kind of homework? Okay, my game library. Oh, we could do Beat Saber. We could totally do Beat Saber. Chronic. Next time I get on the Tricky account, I was demanded that I play Fall Guys, so I have to install Fall Guys at some point too. Chemistry, nice. That sounds fun.
This is business economics in the nursery rhyme. She sells seashells on the seashore, but the value of these shells will fall due to the laws of supply and demand. No one wants to buy shells because there's loads on the sand. Step one, must create a sense of scarcity.
I'm gonna brush my teeth. Give me a
something they're rare, you see. Bear with me. Take as many shells as you can find and hide them on an island. Stockpile them high until they're rarer than a diamond. Step two, gotta make the people think that they want it, really fucking want it. Influencers, product placement, featured primetime entertainment. If you haven't got a show, then you're just a fucking waste, man. Free, it's monopoly. Invest inside some property. Start a corporation, make a logo, do it properly. Shells must sell, that will be a new philosophy. Swallow all your morals, they're a poor man's quality. 4. Expand. Clear forest, make land, fresh blood on hands. 5.
No, it's not. I think chemistry is fun. I wish I had chemistry class right now. But yeah, that's probably because I have to do it, but I feel that way. But, yeah.
The president of the United States, a big smile, make big wave. That's great. Now the truth is overrated. Tell lies out the gate. 9. Polarize the people. Controversy is the game. It don't matter if they hate you, if they all say your name. 10. The world is yours. Step out on the stage to a round of applause.
You've never seen Beat Saber? It's fun.
A devil, a whore, and you sell seashells on the seashore.
Rain.
Storming comes our way. And no surprise to distorted lies. Poison in the vein. But we got to the blame.
I'm so scandalous. I'm brushing my teeth. Ara ara.
Part of this whole money game.
This whole money game. Okay. Next song. It is an hour long, my guy. You're gonna freak out my cat, man. Where's our Pringlemore? Oh my god. Oh, it's Veterans Day? I didn't know that. On Monday? My cat's like, what? Is that a cat? Someone just requested an hour's worth of meowing on YouTube. So, yo, this shit wicka, slaps. Fucking good shit. Meow. Oh yeah, Charles? You'll have to send me a pic of it. Maybe part of it, Kellogg? Do you want me to watch it? Meow. Meow. Yeah, I'll watch the rest another time. I've just been so busy. Content creation is so, like, it's such a loop. Or at least, like, the sphere that I inserted myself in. It's like, cause to react to all the people reacting to me reacting, or to me just existing, to react to all of that and to address it is a full-time job and a half. So at some point I'm like, I give up. I've explained myself so much, I'll explain myself more later, taking a little break. And also my Discord is still not fucking working. Maybe a blessing in disguise. Every time I try and connect to anyone's server, it's perpetually connecting for forever. I don't know what the fuck is up with my computer. So, yeah. See a movie with you and get lunch? I'm not sure about that. I do movies in my Discord sometimes. I'm hesitant to meet people offline, because, I don't want to get murdered. So, we can hang out in Discord. No offense to you. I just don't. You never know. Thanks, Star. Kicklemore, what movie are you guys gonna watch? Mortared. But like with a D. Oh, Ren. More Ren. Got you. No, not like with, well, maybe, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my face real quick. I haven't done that yet. Weaver, I love you.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, give me. 2 years old, he was
Nice.
walking. 3 years old, walking quickly. 4 years old, he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be
There's
a
not
man.
too much
Man,
echo,
he
is there,
works
guys?
for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1.
Ah.
8 years old and he's praised for unusual
Weird,
grades.
Kellogg.
9, his parents pay for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy
Yeah, it's
tells
like-
his son, money is the means to all
I know the
ends.
games people
14,
play, right?
solving
Like,
complex mathematic
know,
equations at 15,
but I
and
also am just,
150,
like,
still elevating. 16, he develops
autistic?
complex
I don't know, I
develops
just-
weaknesses in
like, sometimes I'm aware people are, like, doing a thing, but my brain is, like, doesn't know how to respond to that. I don't know, maybe I should watch the whole video, maybe it'll tell me.
19, he turned to profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down the
Not always bad, yeah. Yeah.
22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself.
Am I into metal?
23, a
Yes.
life of luxury, crystal and cocaine.
Some metal.
24, he makes the
I like,
fourth
like,
gold in his name.
I posted a song on Twitter, Nightwish, like stuff like that, where it's like, that's kind of like goth metal,
26,
a
a
little
business
bit.
shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27,
Like
dealing
opera
nuclear
metal,
and shells in
almost.
Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. And now he's 30. His daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval. Moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind
116 days sober, Sean? Fuck yeah. Good for you, man. Thanks, Charles.
35, he gets a call. I'm sorry, son, it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry. he's
I
gone.
don't think I have
36,
people.
getting pissed off, abusing his
not think
product.
I may.
37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion. Heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words still driving him. to
Hydrate,
kick
thank
the
you, Kellogg.
power. He
I
makes
got a
a
vitamin
move
water.
against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra, and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think he'll be walking again.
Good afternoon, GK. I'm doing okay. How are you?
Let me
Have I
tell
ever
you a
fell in
story
love?
about a boy
Yeah,
named
bro.
Jimmy. He was
Have I
four.
ever fallen
He
in
cursed the
love?
words, mine, mine.
Every day of my life.
41, he wasn't walking. 42, not walking quickly.
I've
43,
kind of
never
always
running
been
round the
like a
pavement
hopeless
of his city.
romantic.
44, inside a
Even, like,
palace
before
with
I
a
was, like,
mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when
Romancing.
perspective evolves.
I've always
Weighing
just been
heavy
like,
on his conscience is the value
yeah.
of gold. Lamborghini
Softy.
for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy
You used
follows
to
the
make
code
fun.
inside the land of the
Not-
free.
why,
Put a hand
cricket?
inside a cookie jar, take more than you need.
The
But
frick?
his example is exaggerated versions of me.
Pisces.
And it's
Okay,
a
I got
version
that.
of
I'll play
him.
that next.
And it's a version of she. And it's a
Just another day at
version of
work.
you. There's no escaping
You live
the
here most of the
pain.
time.
The
I
way we
feel
live
that.
is
I live on the
parasitic.
internet.
Fuck the money and fame. Cut the music.
Thanks, K7. Any plans for the day? I woke up way
This
fucking
isn't
earlier than I
entertainment.
anticipated.
This is real life. The way we live is
I'm meeting up
lunacy,
with a
community
friend later
decline.
to
We're
get
hyperpolarized,
some
we're always fighting,
things.
then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we design. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Board is an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. That leads to people killing each
Wait,
other.
can you
My solution
ingest?
is everything is subject to
I
change.
know that, like,
We
you
could
can
build
snort it
utopias
and
if
smoke it,
individuals were
right?
taught to use their brains. If we teach
I
kids
get- well, I
in
guess,
schools
like,
to always be sheep
opioids,
and
like,
put themselves before the
duh.
herd, if there's more money for me,
Goddamn.
then
Y'all
there's
are
no
hardcore.
future I see where the humans survive. We're parasites inside the petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface, then consumes till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the why. 45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet
I got
upon a
prescribed
wheelchair. He's been
opioids
drinking
after
again.
my
He
C-section,
did
but I didn't
everything
end
he
up like
wants.
taking
He's
the rest of
fortune
the
and
prescription. I'm
fame.
pretty sure I
Such a
flushed them
fortunate fool
because
with
it
an
was like,
unfortunate fate. With
I
a
don't know, I'm not,
45
I didn't want to get
caliber
like hooked on
under
them.
his
I have like an
brain,
addictive
45 a fitting
personality,
number
so I'm
'cause
very
his
careful
age is
about
the
what I
same. Here's the words
ingest.
of his father.
Kellogg, thank you for the
Such
bear
a
and the
damn
rose.
shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
As what do I identify myself today? A small fucking bean, bro. I was small bean mode last night. I'm still small bean mode. I think some Beat Saber would be fun. Presses on the trigger of a money game. Pisces. Oh, rain, 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 rain. The live session or no? Kinklemore? Fuck yeah, Kinklemore. Glad you're clean from that. Kellogg, thank you for the roses. That's that good shit. What's my sign? My sun sign's a Gemini. Moon Cancer. Soft ass bitch. Did you say yes to the live session? You're on coffee. Bro, caffeine, hell of a drug. Tell you what. Wanna watch mud wrestling? Oh my god. Bro, she's got pipes. Wow. What's up, John? I don't know my sun sign is. All that I know is that I'm a Pisces. If the only sign you know is, it's probably your sun sign. Your sun sign is like the one that most people know. Like at the same time, Cricket? Do I got body piercings? My lip is pierced. I have snake bites and a vertical labret, but I'm not wearing it, and I don't know where any of my extra piercings are. Bye, Weaver. Enjoy your lunch. I love you. Catalog, thank you for the biddies. Ah! Oh yeah, houses. I'm not too familiar with all the houses and all that stuff. I'm still learning more about astrology. It actually goes really deep though. Kellogg, thank you for the bits. TikTok, thank you for the 1,400 likes. Thank you guys. This goes hard. This goes hard, Kinklemore. The Delver of Yodiland. What's up? What's up, my guy? I'm about to hit that Benjamin, you know? Oh, cool, Kinklemore. Wow. I honestly feel so bad for like Russian people who don't agree with their government. Yeah, a friend of mine, she is from Russia. She's an incredibly beautiful person. Yeah. War is fucked. War is super fucked. Todd, and do your third dab. Nice. I wish I had some dabs. That sounds nice. Thank you, Weaver. I love you, buddy. Okay. Alright, I gotta figure out how to set up Beat Saber. I think that's what I'm gonna do first this morning. Where the frick? I don't have my green screen set up because it would be cooler if I had the green screen. Minimize this. Oh, Aesop, not feeling the best. But we just hit over 1,000 on the GoFundMe, so we're getting close. I'm also on the grind, so whatever happens first, whether I get it done or we get the GoFundMe, I'm working my ass off though, trying to get on track for that. How much more do you need to get approved? Oh, yeah, no, so I have to have the whole surgery up front, Kellogg. I could grab the paperwork and, I need to take a picture of it and upload it, but unfortunately, with my credit, I just didn't get approved for the loan, so I have to pay it all up front.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday?
Thank you for the biddies, Kellogg.
And you call me down, would it be okay if I were to lose it? But you stay the same most days, so I
What's
call
up,
you
Dwayne?
up and you call me down, would it be okay?
Oh, Weaver, love you.
Would it be okay?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Trying to figure out my Beat Saber. I'm gonna try and play some of that.
Just off the plane in Dubai, yeah. Young me going straight to the sky, yeah. Young gun, I ain't never been shy. You ain't gotta tell me twice for I'm on the next flight, yeah. Caught you in a Whole Foods juice bar, looking so cute. Came swinging in so high, now she got me kidding. Driving around a head car, now I gotta live in. She
Yeah, what's your question, Dwayne?
always got my head in the clouds. Storm coming in, got me upside down. When lightning strikes with no one around, sound of your voice keep my head on the ground. Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay if I were to lose it, but you stay the same most days? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Dime si estás bien, si algún día te cuento que siento miedo y no sé, no sé. Todo eso que ya fue, lo piensa y va a enloquecer. Ya no sé bien lo que sé, quiero regresar ayer. Puede que ya no sé bien, contigo voy a envejecer y ser feliz otra vez. Claro que te extraño, claro que te pienso. Hace mucho tiempo que estás en mi pensamiento. No sé cómo hacerle para sorprenderte. Si tan solo tú supieras cuánto a ti te quiero.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you
Ooh, okay.
someday? So I call you up and you call me down.
Can I think about it?
If I were to lose
If not this time, maybe another time, Dwayne?
most days,
I followed you though. Do you have Discord? Is that where you're gonna be doing it?
be okay.
I can add you on Discord and I can message you for sure in a bit. Okay, for sure, for sure. My name on Discord is CyberCatnip. It is a meta quest 2.
Dime si estás bien, si algún día te cuento que siento miedo y no sé, no sé.
Ow, fucking bonked myself, bro. We're good, we're good. Okay, I am missing my other controller though. Don't come again. I'm still alive. I'm back from dead. You just lost a whole ass wig in the shower. What do you mean? But, yeah, let me know what your name is on there too, Dwayne. I have a lot of friend requests, so just let me know your name. Hey. Oh, it's downloading up there. And then, like pasta? Is it done? Are you moving? Where am I? And the chop box be on the opposite side. Like here? Kinda awkward though, isn't it? Ada! Egg! Thank you for the Ada! Thank you! How are you, Egg? What's up, Egg? How's your day? Lay on my shoulder. Hold on. Good. I gotta confirm my boundary. Whoa. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to connect this to my PC actually. It's not connected. Thank you for the follow. What is the friggin' software? Oculus. Oh, is it an Oculus? Is it? I thought this was something else. Oh, I gotta delete that message because I'm on Twitch worldwide. Twitch doesn't like that. I'm sorry. I don't know if you can say that, but... Alright. Called the MetaQuest? Okay, yeah, I thought so. But the software I'm using for it is the Oculus software, I think. That's what I have installed. What happened? Egg! Thank you. For gifting a sub to Kaiju, thank you. Been working, I'm tired, feel that. I'm doing alright, thanks for asking. What? Okay, quest link streaming required. Quest link, air link enabled. Launch through your headset. Stream thing. Stationary. Okay. Guys, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't played VR on stream in a couple years.
You ain't never think about no bitch. I don't really care, wait until you gonna need my help. Helpless. You ain't never think about nobody but yourself. Selfish. I don't really care, wait until you gonna need my help. Helpless.
You must be the only child because you're so stingy. I just wanna go buck wild when you don't defend me. I've been on the fucking prowl. I've been counting minties. You didn't turn my heart so cold. I should work it freely. Darling, darling, I've been praying for you, for you.
What's up, cowboy? Thank you, love. I'm trying to set up my VR for stream. Do I have a cough? Not really. Yeah, worldwide. I got the chat integrated.
You can't seem to share. Every other day you forget how to care about me. About me. What about me? About me. Forget me. What about me? Used to be like BB.
You must be the only child because you're so stingy. I just wanna go buck wild when you don't defend me. I've been on the
Okay, so I have the device up here,
I've been counting
but I don't know if it's connecting to Steam.
You didn't turn my heart so cold. I should work it freely. Darling, darling, I've been praying for you, for you, for you.
You ain't never think about nobody but yourself. Selfish. I don't really care, wait until you gonna need my help. Helpless. You ain't never think about nobody but yourself. Selfish. I don't really care, wait until you gonna need my help. Helpless.
Every move you make, man, I swear it seems suspicious. Lying through your teeth so I don't rush to give you kisses. Spiteful and malicious, hope that other chick got syphilis. Sick of this, hard to stomach now that nigga shitting bricks. Hypocrite, punch you in your lip, oh shit, you slipping sis. Used to arch my back for you and now I'm your arch nemesis. All that you be feminist, Donald Trump wrote immigrants. I don't want to work it out, so cancel our dread membership. I'ma lead this nigga, don't believe me nigga. I was make believe in nigga, it was only one season nigga. M.O.D. my nigga, money over dick, money over dick. You should stop breathing, nigga. You must be the only child because you're so stingy. I just wanna go buck wild when you don't defend me. I've been on the fucking prowl. I've been counting minties. You didn't turn my heart so cold. I should work it freely. Darling, darling, I've been praying for you, for you. I've been praying for you. I've been praying for you. Darling, darling, I've been calling on God for you. No, for you.
Guys, I'm really struggling with setting this shit up. Don't know how. Darling, darling, I've been praying for you, for you. Oh, whoa, there's a hummingbird. The fuck? I don't know what song I'm gonna play yet. Right now I'm just trying to get it set up. It's being a booty.
Sometimes I can hear the treble lonely, pounding through the floor. My body's so restless, it lives in the basement below. Some boxes makes me feel so strange and so thoughtless. So maybe someday this will cave in. Find me on the floor, looking at the stars.
One sec. Later, Charles. Take care. Okay. Code. This is like Sims music. Can I skip this?
This lighter don't work.
Thanks, Ryzen. How are you doing, bud?
No flame to spark my
I'm almost set up, I think.
But Nike's less than that. Oh, I've ended up treading on my own soul. My headphones only working on the left side, but I try to live the right life. My eyes wide.
Dripping from the inside. Can't find the batteries for my flashlight. Blind eye and I'm tired. Thanks for the follow. I think we got it, boys. You're sick. I'm so sorry to hear that. Don't worry. Yay, we got it. Ain't sure. Feel like I'm always being chased by the devil. But I can't seem to get my spoken words right. Start to rhyme, this life can be ish right.
Like a flick knife, twist and make you sit
Sit
right.
right, and I think maybe I'll be better off alone.
So I redirect the calls from my phone. I learned so many lessons from depression, but in essence, I'm just wishing that these bad thoughts were gone.
I am Cortland. Thanks for being kind. I'm doing better. Thanks for asking. Alright, Beat Saber time. Me.
Sometimes I bleed, sometimes I crawl, sometimes I slip, sometimes I fall. Sometimes my back's up against the wall so hard that the whole building could fall. Sometimes I bruise, sometimes I break, sometimes I'm true, sometimes I'm fake. Sometimes I'm over for a moment when the forward to start opening and swallowing me for goodness sake. And I think I'm gonna break, cause the ache in this bait. I'm awake in a ball full of pain, so I'm man okay. But I'm pressing the brakes, the brakes they break. And I'm driving my universe into a lake and the wait at the road, don't wait. We make mistakes when it's all at stake. We cook our cake, we eat our cake. Sometimes no time for double takes, but that's just the way life goes sometimes. But I don't wanna end up in the gutter, be a rap. I'm my trouble face down in the present where the sun don't shine. I'm coming to give in the backbone, the tracking, attacking, stacking up. With this, I'm packing and I'm praying. Oh, Lord, take this pain away.
Oh Lord, take this pain away. Can I read chat like this? No. Need to figure out how to put chat on. And. Alright, can you guys see everything okay? Oh, I guess we're starting from square one. It made me start my game over! That's okay. Ayo, thank you for the heart, zombies. Okay, I gotta like fix my sweater. Like awkwardly balanced.
I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message.
From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. You are now watching the legend, so sit back and let the show begin. The pro is in, know it's in, but go and get me loaded in. And no offense, for the suckers ain't get close to no a chance. I'm gonna win, my flow is so much doper than an opiate. Oh my lord, here we go again, it's going on and on, though. You can catch me up in that jungle, I'll be going ape like Congo. Hit them points like Pronto, when I hit them up with that gun blow, that triple double Lonzo, combo, ay. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. I'm a living legend.
This one.
You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. Now it's my time, dog. I'm on my way to become an icon. Trying to get your climb on, to get to the level that I'm on. I am the greatest of all time, man, and I won't stop until the whole world's up in my hand. I can't see my rise up on the horizon. I've been out here grinding, trying to leave a legacy, and ain't nobody next to me, cause I'm a different pedigree. Ain't no one impressing me, so step to me, cause I got all my weaponry. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons. Yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm rapping.
What was that? I hit something. Heyo. What's up, Retro? Alright, I'm gonna get off TikTok because you guys can't hear the audio anyways, but I will be back. That one was kind of rusty. I need to be careful about where I walk. Walk too close to the computer. Why did yo, my controller shut off after that? What the fuck? Yo? Oh, I bonked it and it turned off. Yeah, that's lame. Glad you're doing good. I don't know what happened to my controller. It just like shut off. One bonk, my life is over. Think I fixed it? Give me one sec. starting now.
All my life been looking for a true love, a real one. You be mine and I'll be yours, and nothing more. Tomorrow the sun will rise and I'll be there for you. I will show my soul in your eyes. I'll be there for you, be there for you. You, all I want to do with you. All my dreams are coming true. Now that I'm staying with you, be there for you. Be there for you. Hold on, take the time to enjoy our love, our love. Come on, tell me that you'll be there for me, 'cause I will. On the road, the rain will fall and I'll be there for you. I will hold your hand till I die. I'll be there for you, be there for you. Be there for you. All I want to do with you. All my dreams are coming true. Now that I'm staying with you, be there for you. Be there for you.
It like lags a little bit sometimes. I don't know if you guys can notice that, but I definitely do. Here, what do we got? Ah, fuck! Shit! That was a lot more intense. That was on hard mode though. I think the other one was like on easy. Is there chop suey? That would be fun. I don't think I have chop suey. I could download a custom song pack, but I don't think I can buy that one. It's definitely taken me a while to work up to like hard mode. I used to like kind of struggle with easy. It's like interesting for sure to get the hang of, but it's very fun. I really like it. Whew. I played it out, dig it deeper just to throw it away. Alright, we'll try another Linkin Park song. Fuck. Ryder can play on frickin' Expert, I'm pretty sure. But he also plays on no-kill sometimes. I don't play on no-kill that
Memories consume like opening wounds. I'm picking me apart again. You all assume I'm safe here in my room unless I try to start again. I don't want to be the one the battles always choose, 'cause inside I realize that I'm the one confused. I don't know what's worth fighting for or why I have to scream. I don't know why I instigate and say what I don't mean. I don't know how I got this way. I know it's not alright, so I'm breaking the habits. I'm breaking the habits tonight. Watching my cure, I tightly lock the door. I try to catch my breath again. I am much more than any time before. I have no options left again. I don't want to be the one the battles always choose, 'cause inside I realize that I'm the one confused. I don't know what's worth fighting for or why I have to scream. I don't know why I instigate and say what I don't mean. I don't know how I got this way. I'll never be alright, so I'm breaking the habits. I'm breaking the habits tonight. I'll paint it on the walls, 'cause I'm the one at fault. I'll never fight again, and this is how it ends. I don't know what's worth fighting for or why I have to scream, but now I have some clarity to show you what I mean. I don't know how I got this way. I'll never be alright, so I'm breaking the habits. I'm breaking the habits. I'm breaking the habits tonight.
Woo! We did it, boys! Oh my god. Bye, Kankamore. Have fun at the masseuse. Crab Rave? The Crab Rave is on here, actually. So maybe when people do redeems, we can do it in Beep Saber. Whew. I'm a sweaty bitch. Did I miss anything in chat, guys? Whew. Thank you so much for hanging out, y'all. Whew. We did it! I'm getting hot. I have to turn on the fucking heater. Whew. Well, I put on a different shirt, one that's like less baggy, real quick. Linkin Park goes so hard, man. Okay. I'm ready to battle. How does it feel? Like a good workout? Yeah, I'm like winded, like I just went for a run. Don't know how I got this way. Never be alright. Okay. Time out. PC disconnected. What? Know how I got this. Never be right. Right. Thing. I. Right. Thing that happened. Night. Okay, can you see? Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Next song. I'm gonna. Audio, I can't. the audio? Maybe it's going through something else. Ow. Ow. Hi, Jerome. I still don't hear audio on my end. Weird. Okay, I'm gonna restart the headset. Present. Hi, baby. Hello, baby. Present. Hi, Resin. Hi. Your baby. I don't know how we'll ever be alright. Resin. Oh, I'm bright. Popping up. Oh god. White space. Where am I? Present. cord. Don't know how I got everything right. Open! Open! Alright, Steam VR is not loading right now. Okay, cool. We're good. Don't know how I got this. Hi, Fuzzy. Are you the biceps? And I'm working on the biceps. Oh shit, the cord. I should try Airlink so I don't have to use the cord.
A little bit of disregard, handful of complaints, but I can't help the fact that everyone can see these scars. What I want you to want, what I want you to feel, but it's like no matter what I do, I can't convince you to just believe this is real. So let go, I'm watching you, turn your back like you always do, face away and pretend that I'm not, but I'll be here cause you're all that I got. I can't face the way I did before, don't turn your back on me, I won't be ignored, time won't change this damage anymore, don't turn your back on me, I won't be ignored. A little bit insecure, a little unconfident, cause you don't understand to do what I can, but sometimes I don't make sense. What you never want to say, but I've never had a doubt. It's like no matter what I do, I can't convince you for once just to hear me out. So let go, watching you, turn your back like you always do, face away and pretend that I'm not, but I'll be here cause you're all that I got. I can't face the way I did before, don't turn your back on me, I won't be ignored, time won't change this damage anymore, don't turn your back on me, I won't be ignored. No, hear me out now, you're gonna listen to me again.
No, my controller stopped working for a second. That was so dumb. Okay. Word? That's okay. Can you DM me on Discord after the stream? Perhaps? What do you want to DM me about? I mean, like, just go for it. Yeah, I'll check it. Go for it. Oh no, what did I do? Fuck, I accidentally closed Steam VR. Oh no. Where did I click?
When I tried so.
It starts with
One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to remind myself how I tried so hard. In spite of the way you were mocking me, acting like I was part of your property. Remembering all the times you fought with me, I'm surprised it got so. Things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me in the end. You kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. I put my trust in you, just as far as I can go. For all this
Look, thank you for the biddies. What's up, TJ? Meow. 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 Probably keeps going out. I wanna hear you. I wanna feel like we're close to something real. Somewhere I belong. Yeah. I wanna heal, I wanna feel like we're close to something good. I know work. Yeah, this is lame. Okay. I think I'll be done because I'm sweaty and the controller's not doing the thing it's supposed to. Oh. Oh. What's up, chat?
rest. I cursed the gods, cursed my messiah, cursed my maker. I cursed all of creation. There I lay, feeble and thin. Sing boy, seven my sin. Have you ever felt pain? Stomach wrenching, unrelenting. Tell me, have you ever felt pain? Condescending, muscles clenching. Tell me, have you ever felt pain? A rose emerges from the pavement cracks. They'll write my eulogy with broken glass. Eternal parallax.
Pain.
Pain the author, I accept this. Pain the teacher, bruised apprentice. Pain resisting, pain will come. Pain the mother, I'm the son. Pain that splits you, and too many hits you. The dark and the light are converted to one. Pain that twists you, the heavens dismiss you. The Father, the Ghost, and the Holy Son. Body bagging me. Zip it up quicker, they things on me. I search for peace in the belly of a beast. Sick boy on a mantelpiece. Running up a fever, following a leader. Wanna be me, huh? Grass isn't greener. Bright lights, he's your dynamite dealer. Dine at the table of the coroner. Eat top for 13 years, and I've been feeling so stuck.
Oh yeah, I just noticed actually. I do have a lot of purple things. I kind of just threw something on for Beat Saber. But how are you, Humac?
Watching the whole thing unfold from my bed. A bed where I never depressed. A bed where I'm always depressed. A bed with the human oppressed. A bed for a tomb where I slept. A bed in the room that's a womb for this mess. Sick boy bitten by a tick boy. Tell me how it feels to be buried while you breathe. Stones and sticks boy. Pain is a gift boy. Hard to make a stand when you crawl on your knees and I kneel. I kneel at the altar of my own disease and I beg.
I'm doing pretty good, thanks for asking.
Mercy never came. I did me dirty, 33 and hurting, cursing. Jesus died at 33 and still my sins are lurking. Gears are turning, future stays uncertain. Surgeon incision, murder ambition. Fear of the unknown preserves a religion. Denounced the gods when my body went missing. Back then, the pain spray ricochet like a Mac 10. Hot lead hit the bed that was trapped in. Red wings, seraphim out of God's grace. Cried tears from heaven like Clapton. Stick pins in the voodoo Hendrix. Stick skin, stay humble Kendrick. Stay skeptic, check the biometrics. Bloodstained crime scene for forensic. Lights on, lights on. Fade into the background. So down. Running from the silhouette of self-doubt. By now, really should have figured this shit out. Lights on. Smack down. Let it be, rock on, let him tick that John got shot for attention. What does that tell you about the good of intentions? Written as formed in a storm of aggression. Prophets get dropped, imagining heaven. Hearted loose from my hands of our dead. 6-6 followed by 6 and 7. Build and praise and bury them dead. I was born to be half a man with half a chance. My heart isn't half righteous, half is down, half a gram. Half those troubles and thoughts stay darker than a Wu-Kai master plan. Sharper than glass, sharp splinter and cinnamon. Irony could kill a man. Makes money when the music lands. Expand, pay me my cheese, rain down parmesan. Followed by 7 whole sins for a self-made Armageddon. Sin 1, pride makes a man kill a man for his ego to survive. Sin 2, lost makes the grass look greener. Crucifies trust. Sin 3, gluttony, humans consume planet Earth gets a frontal lobotomy. 4, sloth, rinse and repeat, reruns, repeat, time lost. Sin 5, envy, that's when one man's win is another man's frenzy. Sin 6, wrath, rage, vengeance, killers, psychopath. Sin 7, greed plants a seed that will destroy us all if we succumb to greed. If we take what we need, then take more than we need, then our oceans will bleed. Still we feed and we sleep and repeat, then we exile the shepherds and follow the sheep. We inherit the meat, we inherit this world that we bruise and we beat. We inherit this vanity, soakers of creeds. Inherit the liars, the murderous thieves. One sin for every one day of the week.
For people without a land that was not necessarily had more nuance than.
Well, if you look at Zionist history, back in 1890s, when there's only a few thousand Jews in Israel, in what is now Israel, still under Ottoman occupation, there was a Jewish spiritual leader and teacher called Asher Ginsburg, whose Hebrew name was One People. That's the name of it.
That's great.
And he said that if what we're doing now to the Arabs, he said then, is the Messiah coming? I don't want to see him arrive. Because all that's going to happen is there'll be one small Levantine people tormenting another Levantine people.
Right.
In 1905, at a Zionist Congress, there were people who said, our slogan is, a land without a people, for a people without a land. But there is no land without a people. There were people living there for a long time. And it was really clear to anybody who was clear-minded, whatever the historical right the Jews had to Palestine, going back to biblical times, if you want to argue that biblical case,
What was a myth?
or whether you simply wanted to agree that because of the egregious suffering of Jews in Eastern Europe before the Holocaust, or in fact throughout Europe, historically speaking, going back to massacres in England and France and in the Middle Ages, whether that suffering entitled the Jews to a land of their own in a homeland to which they had historical and spiritual ties. Grant all that. You still have to go through the inconvenient fact that there was a local population who had no reason to want to give up their homes. And in 1920, Dr. Ader, he was the head of the Zionist Commission, he said that our aim, in the shortest time possible,
Oh yeah, Humac.
make Palestine as Jewish, as America as American, and in England as British. Well, Grant is right to say that.
I found out recently, actually, though, last night I was comparing it. The South African apartheid started the same year, 1948, that Israel was founded.
But let's grant his right to say that and his desire to make it true. How are the local population supposed to feel about it?
Bye, Jerome. Have a good day.
And we know how they're supposed to feel about it because top Zionist leaders said so. So Vladimir Jabotinsky was the head of the founder of the revisionist Zionist wing of the Zionist movement. A right wing, his party became the Likud, the Herut, and then the Likud, the current government. Jabotinsky. David Ben-Gurion, his rival, was the head of Labor's Zionist movement, and he became the first prime minister of Israel. Both Jabotinsky and Ben-Gurion, in the same terms, almost the same terms, said in the 1930s, privately, that we call the Arab terrorists. But these are just people defending their homeland. We would do the same thing if we were in their position. So on the one hand, the interpretation was for public purposes that we're fighting terrorists. Internally, they knew that what they were doing was trying to displace the people that were doggedly trying to defend their homeland. This is before 1947, 48. This is going back to the 30s. Then there's the whole history. I don't know whether or not you want to go into it now, what happened in 1947, 48. But let me quote something to you from an Israeli journalist. And people, when they talk with me, they often tell me, you don't live there, you're not Israeli, you don't know what's going on. All right.
Right, Humac. It was just like when it was
I'm not
official.
Israeli. I don't live there.
And like,
I'm also
I'd be
not
interested
American.
with like the United
do have
States
opinions of
segregation
American
policies as
football.
well, like when
Or
all
about
of that
American
kind of
civil rights.
started.
I'm also not a Saudi. but I have an
Started,
opinion
like
about what they
officially,
do
at
going in
least.
there.
They
I'm
all like
also,
enacted it into
not a
policy.
Russian, but I have an opinion on the Ukraine
You're a
war.
human being.
I'm also not a Ukrainian.
As the Boer?
I also have an opinion on that. So don't tell me I'm not an Israeli. I don't live there, okay? Unless nobody who doesn't live somewhere
Right.
has any right to say anything about anywhere else. Let's just give that one up, okay? But granted, I'm not an Israeli. Let me quote you an Israeli.
Please.
This is Amira Haas, who's a Israeli journalist. She's lived in the West Bank for 30 years.
So there's
was on
segregation in the United States pretty
program
much like
Democracy Now!
after
recently.
slavery, it seems like.
That's a segment everybody should watch.
Okay.
And
She happened to
I
be in
think
New York,
MLK was like one of the catalysts for the change in that.
For 10 minutes, this
This is the Civil
principled,
Rights Act of
brave woman
1964,
was
long
written
struggle
in
for
Israeli
freedom.
press regularly about the experience of Palestinians.
Oh, that's crazy.
Was speechless with grief.
That was when my grandma was
And
alive.
She wrote recently.
She was
In a few days,
like in her
Israelis
20s.
went through what Palestinians have experienced is a matter of routine for
Right.
decades and are still experiencing, including military incursions, death, cruelty, slain children, bodies piled
Now
up
we
in the
just like
road,
use the prison
siege,
system as cover
fear,
for
anxiety
fucking
over
slavery.
loved ones,
Like,
captivity,
shit, bro.
and searing humiliation.
It's fucked up.
I didn't say that. An Israeli journalist said it. And there are Israelis who see that. But it's so difficult anywhere in the world, including here in Canada, in Australia, in the States, for anybody to put themselves in the position and the experience of the other. We tend to experience the world. The Buddha said 2,500 years ago, 2,600 years ago now, that basically with our minds we create the world. That's the first statement in
The Dhammapada.
in the Dhammapada, with our thoughts or in the lead. What he didn't say, and that's modern psychology, is that before with our minds we create the world creates our minds. And much of the mind of collective humanity is created by trauma. And so that lens of trauma then is what interprets present circumstances for us. And that's what's going on so much right now. And Robert Sapolsky, who
I'll write that down. I'll put it on my book list.
neurologist and neuroscientist,
Or, well,
and
actually, could I just get it on Audible real quick,
writer
I wonder?
at Stanford, he just came up with a book called Determined. And in this book, he argues that basically there's no free will. That is it okay if I quote him?
You can do anything you want.
We are nothing more
Okay,
or
got
less
it.
than the sum of that which we could not control, our biology, environments, their interactions. He goes almost so far as to say that there's no such thing as free will. In other words, so many of our reactions are a product of our past. What family we were born into, what our sensitivity is biologically, what stories we were told as children, what our environment is telling us, what our identification is with this group or that group. And then we think we're free and we know the facts. But the facts, as the Buddha points out, are a product of our particular interpretation of the world. And the question is, can we become free of all that? Now, I'd love to talk to Robert and say, are you saying that no free will is possible at all? I mean, can we not get to a state of consciousness where we can actually be aware, and including of our own reactions and our own emotions? So there's nothing on the emotional level that I don't understand about the reactions on both sides. And the grief and the pain on the Jewish Israeli side, how could it be otherwise? Given just what just happened. But is it true that this is just another incident in a long history of unmerited Jewish suffering? Or is it possible that maybe we've done something to contribute? Not to justify what happened, because nothing justifies what happened. Nothing justifies the killing of innocents. But is it something that we may have done, as Amir Huss points out?
And I think, do we have a responsibility to not only this generation, but to future generations to look at the causes and conditions that lead to something? And most Israelis I talk to, most Jewish people I talk to, most Palestinians I talk to, it's not working for them. They don't feel safe. They would love to not spend billions of dollars on bombs and missiles and spend those billions of dollars building schools and childcare centers and hospitals and malls and like places for people to thrive. And I get the sense that like most people actually would love to live in a place where they could do that, right? Where the bombing would stop on both sides. And I don't know if it's a lack of leadership or if it's the pain of all these years just builds up. And so there's no way to turn that. It feels sometimes like there's no way to turn that around. And every Israeli that's killed, that family wants revenge. And every Palestinian that's killed, understandably, they too want revenge, right? And so there's a world where it's getting more and more like hot and fire. And what I worry about this situation is that it spreads and there's more hate crimes and there's more of this element of wanting revenge. And I get it. Like, I understand that feeling. And I'm also wondering, where does that end? And is there a way in which maybe these narratives that we've kept going for all these years, are they helpful, these identities and these narratives? Or in some ways, do we need to actually kind of expand our sense of who we think we are? That we're human beings. You know, I was reading recently that we're all part of they call her the mitochondrial Eve. She lived 155,000 years ago, and she's our DNA to every human being existing. our mother.
Yeah.
And so on one level, we're all the same family. I mean, you can say you're Jewish, I'm not, whatever, but like on another level, if you look at the lens, you could say we're all Milky Way galaxian, or you could say we're all human. We're all basically the same. And is that part of the answer, or how do you look at and see like the role of identity and narrative when it's helpful, and also maybe when it's not helpful, and when those particular mindsets aren't helping us create peace and create a more loving world?
Well, so many things come up for me when as you pose that question, which is not only a question, it's also an eloquent statement of how it might be. You know, when is the issue of identity? What does it mean? It comes from Latin. Idem means the same, as an identical, and facere is to make. When we identify with something, we make ourselves the same as something.
Yeah.
If I identify with a certain group, and my identify is restricted to that making the same as that group, then I'm going to experience everything largely through the majority experience of perspective of that group.
Yeah.
Look, I've just been through the former Yugoslavia, where, as I mentioned, the events and the perpetrations were horrible. But I was hosted by the Novak Djokovic Foundation. Djokovic himself is actually part Croat and part Serb. And although he identifies mostly as a Serb, but their foundation and his wife Jelena, they're just committed to peaceful child development, to make sure that parents treat their kids in such a way that they won't grow up full of hatred.
Wow.
And then we were in Sarajevo, where I had Muslim people come up to me, recognizing me, just thanking me for my work. And the same thing in Catholic Ljubljana in Slovenia. I'm telling you, Soren, you're so right. People just want to experience peace.
Yeah.
They just want to bring up their kids in a safe environment. They don't want to feel threatened. And this is true whether you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim, Buddhist, whoever you are, whether you're Israeli or Palestinian.
Yeah.
This is true for most people.
Yeah.
What complicates things are a number of factors. One of them is identification. And generally, once you identify with a group, a sense of victimization comes very easy.
Yeah.
Now, just in Hungary, where there's a monument near the parliament buildings, beautiful old parliament buildings. Hungary is a victim of Germany.
Wow.
The German eagles.
That's what the monument says? Or
the German eagles swooping down on poor defenses Hungary.
Wow.
That's not the history. The history was that Hungary, due to its leadership, was an ally of Germany.
Yeah.
Hungary had the first anti-Semitic laws in Europe way back in the 1920s, well before the Germans did.
Yeah.
The Hungarian state cooperated with the deportation of the Jews enthusiastically in 1944. Eichmann only had a couple of dozen SS men with him in Budapest. They couldn't have deported 500,000 Jews.
Yeah.
It took the Hungarian gendarmerie and the state apparatus to transport those Jews to Auschwitz. Yeah. And Hungary attacked Russia along with Germany. And 200,000 Hungarian young men died.
Wow.
Trying to subdue the Russians. Yeah. Then the Russians came back in and they occupied Hungary. Germany occupied Hungary only when Hungary tried to leave the German alliance. But the Hungarian government currently spreads this idea that we were the victims.
Right.
We had no role in this whatsoever.
Right.
And everywhere in the world it's like that.
Yeah.
When people identify, it's so much easier to see ourselves as victims, and which is not to say that no real victimization took place.
Sure. Right.
Hungary suffered terribly, for example, under the Russian occupation and the brutal communist dictatorship. That's true. At the same time, let's acknowledge that it wasn't Russia that attacked Hungary first, it was Hungary that attacked Russia first.
I do that in my personal life. I'm like, this person's an asshole and this person did this to me. And then if I actually am honest about myself, I generally had created conditions that supported that action. Like they're responsible for that action. But I did things like passive aggressive statements, you know, and then I like get mad at my partner for you know, getting mad at me. But in general, if I'm really honest with myself, I'm feeding that fire in some ways. And I think that's really what you're talking about, right?
And that's the same in my marriage.
Yeah.
And so when you're asking what's the way out, self-examination is the first step, you know. And the Krishnamurti, who is the spiritual teacher, he said that action is meaning only in relationship, he said. Action is meaning only in relationship.
Okay.
He said, without understanding relationship, action on any level will only breed conflict. The understanding of relationship is infinitely more important than the search for any plan of action, said Krishnamurti. And I've used that as the epigraph to two of my books. It's so true. So if we want to understand something, let's begin. Let's at least begin with the willingness to look at our role and our own contribution to that relationship in which we're suffering.
Right.
Again, that doesn't justify
any action,
any particular action, but at least it provides a context. And it's not about making the wrong pass. Sapolsky, who I quoted, said something interesting. He said two things. He talks about the absurdity of hating any person for anything they have done. Given that in his view, we're so determined that everything we do is determined by the past, so then
it's like the sun, getting mad at the sun for rising and shining.
And he also says, there's no such thing as free will, and blame and punishment are without ethical justification. Now, I don't agree with him. I think it's possible to get to a position of free will, but I don't think most of us have it most of the time. So in the interaction that you witnessed this morning between my wife and I, there were two people both lacking free will, acting on programming. To get to free will, I'm sorry, it takes extraordinary effort to become conscious. So, conscious means you're aware of what's inside you. So there might be rage inside you, perfectly justified. There might be hatred inside you, perfectly justified. There might be a desire for revenge inside you, perfectly justified. When I say justified, understandable.
Absolutely.
But they're not guides for action. The only guide for action is where we're in a non-defensive state. When I say non-defensive, we might take a defensive stance, but an emotionally non-defensive state where our prefrontal cortex, the mid-frontal cortex, whose job it is to have insight, empathy, self-regulation, compassion, when that's online, we might talk about free will. When we're regulated by our emotional reactions, collective or emotional, there's no free will.
I think this piece about honoring and feeling the emotions that people are feeling, because I think a lot of people feel hopelessness right now, they feel rage right now, and I'm wondering if you could say a little bit more about the importance to honor those feelings, but actually to not actually be directed by them, that there's a different place from which we can act, and at the same time, so could you talk about how you see people do that?
Sure. Well, recently, because of stresses that I was experiencing in my own life, I decided to do something desperate, just to meditate. I mean, how desperate can you get?
So was this the 2 weeks you took off?
Yeah,
I remember you telling me that.
I took 2 weeks of a break from emails, internet, everything, and I began to immerse myself in, spiritual literature again and meditation and so on. And the Buddha never told his followers not to feel hate, or not to feel angry, or not to feel grief, not to feel sadness or fear. He said, you will notice when there's fear in you. You will notice when there's hatred in you. You will notice when there's grief. You'll be aware of it so that it doesn't rule you.
Yeah.
And so those are just human emotions. They're going to happen. Question is, what's going to govern our actions? Now, let me quote you an Israeli psychiatrist
Please.
who wrote a recent piece in the Wall Street Journal. He said, Israel, a country founded on the trauma of the Holocaust, raised generations of soldiers and fighters who fought to make sure Jews would never be led like lambs to the slaughter again. Turning passive into active and victim into victor is an unconscious way to manage trauma. When you read the histories of the 1947-48 events in Palestine, and particularly the 48 war, many of the soldiers fighting in the new Israeli army were actually immigrants from Europe, escapees from the horrors of the Nazi genocide. Whenever fighting the Arabs, they literally experienced themselves, perceived themselves as fighting just another group of Nazis trying to kill Jews.
Wow.
It's totally understandable why they would have seen it that way. What they didn't understand is that those were just local people trying to hold on to their lands, or other Arabs coming to help them. Maybe we'll talk more about that history a bit later. But this same psychiatrist says recently in the Wall Street Journal, the wish to repair, and this time to emerge from battles victorious, is based on the illusion that when we do so, we become winners, that we can end and master our suffering. If only we win, then we have mastered our suffering. In fact, a soldier's victory is never just a victory, he says, but a double-edged sword that leads to loss and to cycles of trauma and violence that are carried from generation to generation. Because there's such a thing as karma in this world. And karma doesn't mean retribution in the future. Karma actually means the action that we're undertaking now and the intention and the mindset with which you undertake those actions. And yes, those will have impacts. It's impossible from a vengeful place to create a peaceful world. The very thing you want is the thing that you're undermining. Now, there's something in Jewish tradition.
We're watching
very
A
unique.
Call for Healing, Gabor
And I'd say
Mate
it's the
on
best.
Palestine and Israel.
Certainly the aspect of the Jewish tradition that I most identify with and honor.
How are you,
And that's the prophetic
Matthias?
tradition. And the prophetic
I'll link the
tradition
video.
is not predicting the future, but seeing how the present
Ew!
will show up in the future.
No! Fuck.
And the essence of it is that the prophet stands up and says to the king, you have no right. There's a higher value than state, than armies and chariots, than your own interests. And that higher value comes from a universal source that we can call God, and some people do. But that you will break those laws at your peril, and you're going to create suffering. I don't know too many other religions where the right to speak the truth, the power, is not only historically recorded, but actually honored. Now, the prophets didn't usually have a good time in their days. It's not that they were welcomed with open arms. But that's a part of Jewish tradition I'm really proud of. Now, there were such people all along as Zionism unfolded its particular trajectory, who said, if you're going to keep doing this, this is going to be the result. There were people who said so in 1905, in 1920, in the 30s, right around the time of the funding of the state. We keep pointing out there were people at the time of the 1967 victory where the occupied territories became occupied territories. We're heading down a dangerous path. We're going to create more and more suffering. Were they ever right? Another point is, people don't have to take my word for it. They can research it. I've said this before. Albert Speer, who was Hitler's architect and one of the economic constructors of the the Nazi regime. He spent 20 years in Spandau prison as a war criminal. He probably got off light at 20 years. Whether genuinely or whether opportunistically, Hondo went a kind of remorseful reevaluation. But he said something that whether he meant it genuinely, whether he didn't, was absolutely true. He said, in Germany, it wasn't a matter of what you know. It's a matter of what you could have known, how you wanted to. Like all the Germans that watched the Jews being taken away, they might have asked questions. He himself describes two incidents. Speer does, in his autobiography. He said one time he was talking to a general, and he says to the general casually, "I'd like to visit the East sometime." And the general said, "You don't want to go there." Speer said, "I never asked why not. I could have asked."
Thank you, Ed.
Another time, he was at a factory.
Thank you for being so sweet.
where
I
they
hope
were
you're having a
using
great day.
Workers seconded from some of the concentration camps. And he asked them, "Would you rather be here or would you rather be in the camps?" They froze in horror as they looked at him. He said, "I never asked them why. I could have asked." Now, today, people have the capacity to read the Israeli historians, not Arab historians, not anti-Semitic historians, Israeli historians who have access to the records that have been opened about Zionist history, and particularly the events of 1947-48. They could read Benny Morris on the creation of the Palestinian refugee problem, the deliberate expulsion, massacre, dispossession, oppression. It wasn't an accident, it was planned. Ilan Pappé, P-A-P-P-E, an Israeli historian, lives now in London, or I should say in Britain. His book called The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine. You may not believe that that's what happened, but what right have you got to speak on the subject if you haven't even looked at the evidence? And he documents the killings, the expulsions, the destructions of homes, the rape, the brutality that was planned and carried out with deliberate intention. And you could read Avi Schleim, you can read Tom Segev.
Do you think if people educated themselves in that way, so they would see it not only from one point of view, but also really understand the history so we can see it, that there would be a way that these two communities could find a way to live in harmony? Or how would it work that you could have, like within Gaza, like 2-3 million people living right next to Israel? And education definitely seems to be one way, Gabor, but I think a lot of people are also looking at what is the path forward that presents, and education definitely is one piece, but I didn't know if there's other pieces.
You know what the one place on earth is where more Israelis live than in almost any other place?
No.
Berlin.
Huh.
Yeah, there's a lot of Israelis in Berlin. They live a life of freedom, creativity. Some of them went there to escape the narrowness and chauvinism of their own country.
Wow.
I know friends who live there. If Hitler had a grave, which he doesn't because they burned his body, but he'd be rolling in his grave at the gay Israelis who live in it. Not only are they Israelis, some of them are actually gay. This is the guy who hated gays and Jews. It's possible, right?
It's possible.
And what happened? The Germans actually took responsibility. They actually said, "Here's our history. We're not going to deny it. We're going to acknowledge it." I was just in Belgrade, Sarajevo, through terrible suffering, not 90 years ago, 80 years ago, as in the Second World War, but 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. People actually living at peace. It's not that all the wounds are healed. That's going to take generations. But they're living in peace, working together, cooperating, creating together. They have their pensions. But it's possible.
And it's possible in part because the leadership took responsibility. Am I understanding you right?
Well, here's the problem. Here's a huge problem. And I'm going to return to Canada now as an example. In Canada, in the Second World War, the Canadian Japanese were interned, as they were in the US, as potential enemies, which was nonsense, of course. But not only were they interned, you might make a case that you have to remove these people from the coast in case they have too much loyalty to the land of their forebears. But do you have to rob them of their goods at the same time? Do you have to dispossess them? Couldn't you just, keep them safe and after the war give them their houses back? No, they were dispossessed, robbed, despoiled of their goods and exposed to all kinds of racism. The Canadian government has apologized to the Japanese community for what it did. Didn't give the goods back, but it apologized. I mentioned in Canada the history of residential schools. The Pope, incidentally, recently came to Canada to apologize for the church's role. In his residential schools, kids were beaten for speaking their language, as I mentioned. Little girls, 4 years old, had a pin stuck in their tongue if they spoke their native
Bro,
language. They were sexually physical.
I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, guys. I know. This guy went out of his way to put a hate comment on a picture of my eyes on my Instagram for something unrelated, some internet cringe bullshit. And he went out of his way to put a hate comment, multiple hate comments on my stuff. And I go to his like one of his recent pictures posted, and there's these other girls coming to his profile, fucking like laughing at his ass. Got 4 likes on a post, but they're all like telling him off because he went out of his way to comment a hate comment on them. Like, bro, oh my god. And so I am going to follow all the girls he was mean to. And we're gonna have a girl squad, and it's gonna be great. People are funny. Wow.
Emotionally abused. They died. Their parents were jailed if they tried to see their children. And this went on for over 100 years, until recently. As a result, suicide rate, disease rate, autoimmune disease, addictions, lateral violence.
He said make women afraid again? Yikes.
Self-cutting, early death, diabetes is so much more prevalent in the native population. It's strictly a trauma outcome. And the Canadian government has apologized for the residential schools. Very nice. It's easy to apologize for something that somebody else did some decades ago. You know what they haven't apologized for yet? We've apologized to the Japanese for taking their goods. We have not apologized to indigenous people for taking their lands and their resources and their forests and their rivers and their oceans. Why haven't they apologized? Because we're still taking it. We're not going to apologize for something we're still doing.
Yeah, we have to give it back.
If Israel could acknowledge, without obliterating its own right to exist, because the past is past. No matter what happened in the United States, slavery and the annihilation of indigenous population and their robbery, just all the colonial horrors that were visited on the indigenous population, they happened, and the States is here.
Most of us in California live off land that was at one point indigenous land.
Absolutely, and the same thing in Australia. And even now in the United States, as you know, some people don't want to talk about slavery. You know, and Ron DeSantis, Florida, there's even some statement in the history books about how the slaves picked up useful skills. You remember that? Yeah. I want to write an article. I want to write an article in response to Ron DeSantis. And I want to say, thank the Nazis for the concentration camps. Because look at all the useful skills that Jews developed. How to survive with very little food, resilient. I mean, it makes the blood boil. You know, but here's what I was going to say. Israel could acknowledge, look, we decided to form a state. That was our situation. However you felt about it, we felt that our suffering and the urgency of our need overrode whatever rights you may have had locally. But in the process, and we're not going to go away. We're here. But we did rob you. We did kill you. We did misrepresent your history. We did present ourselves as your victims. We're the ones who imposed this. You didn't come to Europe to attack us. We came here. And we're not going to do it anymore. We're not going to keep taking more land away from you. And I'll talk, if you like, about my visits and what I've saw there with my own eyes. But we're not going to do it anymore. We acknowledge that we did it. We're not going to give you back any more than America's going to give back the land to the indigenous people. But we accept that you're here, that you have a right to be here, and you have the right to be free of our control, and you have the right to expect some recompense, and you have the right to be reunited with your families. That if I, Gabor, have the right to travel tomorrow and land at Ben Gurion Airport and demand citizenship under the right of return, going back when? 2,000 years ago? then you as a Palestinian have the right to something similar.
Yeah.
Not that we can accept all the refugees back, but let's at least talk about it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to, well, let's talk about the occupation in a minute. So in other words, if there was some, number one, recognition of what happened in the past,
Yeah.
and number two, a determination not to keep doing it, that's what's needed for peace.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not going to happen.
It may. Well, let's say it's unlikely to happen.
Well, okay.
I'd like to keep the possibility that
It's
anything is
unlikely to
possible.
happen
It's
for two
unlikely to happen.
reasons. One is that the underlying Zionist project has always been all of Palestine. We keep talking about the charter of Hamas. I don't know anybody who supports Hamas. But we keep talking about the Hamas charter about taking all the land over from the Jews. You know, anybody know what the Likud Constitution says? Likud being the governing party in Israel. That there's no right to any state that's not Jewish between the sea and the Jordan River. You know, well, let's drop that. You know, let's say that there are those two people that have to live together. Let's be giving some acknowledgement. And you know, to their credit, there are Israelis and Palestinians working on that, but they're in a small minority. But the reason it's not going to happen is because the overall Zionist project has always
up,
been all
CSS?
Palestine.
How you doing?
And it doesn't matter whether it was Labour or Likud or Harut or whoever it was. The only difference was the Labour Party spoke peace and practiced occupation. The Likud doesn't even pretend to talk peace. You know, that's the only difference. But that's in the third reason, I have to say. The third reason is in international politics. Nothing exists in isolation from the rest of the world. And as always, the interests of the great empires.
You see some
dominate
creeps in
small
chat.
nations.
Yeah.
No.
And that's the U.S.
Oh
Well,
yeah?
in this case, it's the U.S. There could have been no Jewish immigration and
How
the
so?
creation of a Jewish army and Jewish institutions in the 1910s, particularly the 1920s and the 30s, without the protection of the British Empire. The fact that the British Empire eventually became tired of the Zionist project.
Oh yeah, biceps.
still
I
remains
forgot.
the fact that without its protection, there could have been no Zionist project there. And Winston Churchill,
DMs.
God love his imperialist
I
soul,
have this like stain. I don't know if
said
it's
that the
super
creation of a
glue.
Jewish
It's like
state is in
hard.
the best
I
interest
think
of
it's
the
super
British
glue. I don't know how that
When the
happened
British
though.
Empire faded, replaced by the American Empire, Israel has now become the special project of the American Empire. And if anybody doesn't think that there's an American Empire, just look at who's got 800 military bases around the world. You know, and well, this might be an aside, but you know, January 6th, you know what that commemorates?
In the U.S.
Yeah.
The attack on the Congress.
Yeah, the Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Also my birthday. So finally,
Oh wow.
finally the Americans have recognized the importance of January 6th, you know. But there's a joke that's all too true. You know why the coup of January 6th didn't work?
No.
Because they didn't have a U.S. embassy supporting it. Because the Americans
almost
because the Americans talk about a 9/11. There was another 9/11. You know where that happened? That happened in Chile, where the American
Uncle for the follow trucker.
supported Chilean military overthrew the democratically elected government and killed thousands of people. And so the Americans have an empire.
We have a very sordid past, and as an American,
Yeah.
and I want to hear about your trip to Gaza because I don't know actually many people who have actually directly visited Gaza. If there's any positive in this, and I know there's like 10,000 negatives,
Yeah.
and this in no way minimizes the immense suffering that Palestinians and Israelis are going through now. But it seems like it has the world's attention in this moment. As an American, I've lived largely in denial, and
So what's changed for you?
what's changed for me is all of a sudden
It's
I'm
pretty
realizing
hard, but
there's,
also get
a conflict
figure
in the
out what
world
it
that
is.
I've ignored, and that I'm as a human,
probably
as a
be able to get it
responsible global citizen,
Yeah.
and I can't look at these images
still
of these kids
EP. I
on
might take a
TV
little
screen
nap.
and feel like I don't give a shit about you, and I'm not going to do anything for your behalf. Like, and I know there's kids in Africa and South America and a lot of places, but like when I see the kids, whether they're Israeli kids or Palestinian kids, I feel like I could be you could be me, those could be my kids. Like there's not, I feel like we're human beings in a shared predicament. And so part of what inspired me to have this conversation with you, I was like, what can I do that would have one iota of a chance of maybe decreasing the suffering?
Yeah, that would probably
But to
be
be
the
honest with you, I have not really tended to this. And so I can look at other people and ask them to take responsibility. I also need to acknowledge and apologize in my own way for, and you can say, well, it's not my job, whatever, but I actually feel as a global citizen that my duty is to do all I can as best I can. And so for me, all this incursion stuff has gotten my attention.
Quentin,
I know a
thank you
lot
for
of
the
other
heart.
people's attention, and there might be some
How are
way
you, love?
in which I'd like to keep the possibility, anyways. That there's some way in which the current narratives that are going on in Palestine, from what I'm told, is that the Israeli people are savages. They're just going to bomb us, to kill our families. They don't give a shit about us. They put us in these open air prisons, right? And then the narrative that's going on right now, of course, in Israel, I understand that these people are savages who kill,
Animals.
and who's to argue with any of those narratives? And yet another generation both being raised with those narratives, it's not a surprise that there's going to be more bloodshed and more violence and more kidnapping and more attacks. And so I feel just as a human being, what is it that I can do to be supportive in a way? And the kids, I don't know why, these kids that I saw on the TV screen, I go to bed and I just see them, and they have like no voice, almost no voice. And I don't,
because of what I said about the perspective and interest of the American Empire, that other perspective, that other experience is just erased.
Yeah.
Nobody hears about it. And there is something uniquely horrible right now. I mean, it's impossible to choose horrors by ranking them in this world, you know. But to me, there's something, and this is subjective. I can't make a rational case for it. But to me, this is awful, and maybe more awful than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I lived through the Vietnam War. I was a student then. 3 million Vietnamese civilians were killed based on a complete lie, as we now know. 500,000 Iraqi children before the war died due to sanctions. No medicine, no food. In Guatemala, 100,000, nobody knows this. Do you know that in Guatemala, 100,000 people were killed in the 1990s?
I didn't know it was that many.
100,000, mostly indigenous, by the American and Israeli trained Guatemalan army. Then there's, of course, the beyond speakable horrors of the Nazi genocide. Several 100,000 people have died in Yemen in the last 10 years. Nobody talks about it.
I think nobody talks about it because it feels so much to hold, you know, like in the past, humans didn't have YouTube and we weren't able to take all in this information.
I beg to differ.
Please.
It's what the media chooses to pay attention to and what it doesn't. And they could pay attention, but they don't. They decide what's important.
Thank you so much, Grim.
On YouTube, though, you can pretty much get anything you want.
Yeah, that's true, which goes back to what I said earlier, that these days, there's no excuse for not finding out other points of view. But what is uniquely horrible about what's going on right now is that there was the terrible, unjustifiable atrocity of October the 7th. None of which can be justified by anything of what I said about the history that preceded it. But which itself doesn't justify anything that followed it.
Thank you.
And we're watching these children dying on TV every day, their homes being demolished.
They can't leave.
And we're accepting this as normal. That's what's so uniquely horrible, is we're witnessing it. And people find ways of justifying it. People find ways of rationalizing it. We're so unconscious, and our hearts can be so closed. Couldn't we at least genuinely breathe? Couldn't we at least say, let's understand what's going on here, so that we don't keep perpetrating the same suffering on one another? No, our politicians blithely mouth phrases about Israel's right to defend itself. No country, everybody's right to defend themselves. Israel has the right to defend itself. Does it have the right to oppress a people to the point of beyond desperation? This Gaza thing that happened was like a boil that's going to erupt at some point. That doesn't justify what happened.
Sure, but if we care about creating conditions that decrease that happening for future generations, we have to look at it.
So with that, I can go back to my business there.
Please, please.
Yeah.
And what motivated you to go there?
As I mentioned, I went through my Zionist phase.
Like acoustically?
It was an important time.
Like,
for
is
me
it
in terms
too
of
quiet?
Self-acceptance and pride and a rebirth of my faith in possibility. And then at some point, it's interesting what happened. In the Zionist movement, Oberchel was the local leader of a Zionist youth group at age 19. But I was given the job of giving a talk on how to counter Arab propaganda on the campuses. We're talking the early 1960s now. So I made the reasonable assumption, if I was going to counter Arab propaganda, maybe I should find out what are they saying, you know? So I began to read histories.
Turned it up a bit more.
But by Jews. And I realized the narrative that I bought into was not reality. There's a whole other side. There's a whole other people with a completely different experience. That if we're going to have any kind of peace, we need to at least understand their view, their narrative, their felt experience. And so by the time the Intifada, the uprising broke out, which is a largely peaceful event, children demonstrating, they threw rocks at tanks, you know, against the occupation. And the Israeli army's response under the later Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin was, we're going to defeat this with might and beatings. And they took Palestinian kids and deliberately broke their arms and their legs. This is how they fought. What was largely a peaceful uprising and protest, largely. There was a Jewish woman in California who led a medical group to support people in the occupied territories, children particularly. And they asked me to come and as a medical doctor, come and visit with them so that we can.
That's
look at
a cringe
health
comment.
conditions in Palestine under the occupation.
I
What year is
wish.
In the early
Ashraf.
90s, during the first Intifada. So I went to the refugee camps in the occupied territories.
There's better ways to get attention,
I
my
went to
guy.
Gaza.
What's up, malicious
cried every day for
angel?
2
My
weeks.
day's going good. How are you, love?
I cried every 2 weeks.
Well,
And I thought, and I used to believe that this was right.
yeah.
The daily humiliations, the arrogance of the army, the incredibly self-inflated power and I use the word arrogance again, of the settlers. The sheer evil and injustice of it.
Draw us.
According to
TG?
Israeli documents, the average settler got 6 times as much water
I'm
as the
journaling
average
as of right
Palestinian.
now.
So I could arrive from Vancouver, become a settler tomorrow. I'd have the right to live in a
Thanks,
settlement
Mike.
with a swimming pool.
I just had to
The
flaying
Palestinians
around.
don't
You
have the
know,
right to
you
dig
know.
wells on their own land. Because to dig wells, they have to have a permit. But they don't get permit. So if they dig a well, the army comes and fills them full of stones.
Right.
The burning down. They talked about Palestinian tree terrorism. When I used to go to synagogue here, I can barely set foot in a synagogue anymore for what I want to hear there. No, there are exceptions. They're really good religious Jews and rabbis, really open-minded, sweet, humane people. I'm talking about the unconsciousness and ignorance of the majority. They talked about Palestinian tree terrorism. You know why? Because in the occupied territories, there's something called the Canada Forest. Trees planted with Canadian funds. Jewish, mostly Jewish donations.
Say what?
And the Palestinians would sometimes come and
Oh,
sneak
okay,
in and
so
burn
he's
down some of those
talking
trees.
about the Israel-Palestine conflict, and he's coming at it from a more like trying to find the peace and get to the root of the problem type thing, not so much like the facts of the horrors of what has happened. They touched a little bit on it, but they're mainly talking about like healing the divide, from what I've gathered. Gabor Mate, though, if you've never heard of him, he's a great author. He's a doctor. We're almost done reading his book on stream, Scattered Minds. We've been listening to quite a bit of that.
So they talked about
But his perspective is specifically interesting because he's a former Zionist. He was born at the tail end of the Holocaust. He has a very interesting perspective on it, in my opinion.
tree terrorism. Well, what they didn't know is, and didn't want to know, is the Canada Forest was built at the site of Palestinian villages that were destroyed and bulldozed over by the Israeli army in 1967. And the settlers regularly burned down Palestinian olive groves, which is their livelihood, the olive oil. And then they prayed it in the synagogues about tree terrorism. You know, and my children were studying for their bar mitzvah then, and so I went to services regularly. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand up and say anything. You know, at that time I couldn't. So I witnessed this. I cried for 2 weeks. I came back and I wrote about it. That's the first time I went back. I went to Gaza. Who were the Gazans? 70%.
He's
of
talking
them
about his experience
were,
in Gaza.
in the 1990s, still either the direct refugees, people who had been expelled by main force from a few miles away, where from across the barbed wire, they can view their lands being tilled by new immigrants and new Israelis. These are the Gazans. And they're living in these hovels. This is in the 1990s. Now, I went back again in the early 2000s after the Oslo Accords, which is a complete sellout of the Palestinians by their own leadership. And because they never stopped the right for the Israelis to keep settling the land and keep taking over the land. And we again went to the territories. It was marginally better then because in the aftermath of Oslo there was some hope, but I could tell that this was going nowhere because the settlements were expanding.
And Gaza, just so people know, Gaza Strip, anyways,
Yes,
is, I think,
Gabermate.
5 miles by 24 miles. and 2
Here
or 3
is
million
the
people.
link
Like,
to the
it's
video.
not-
Post
I
it
mean,
again.
there's an Israeli, again, anybody who's listening and thinks this is Arab propaganda, there's an Israeli sociologist, Baruch Kimmerling, who said that Gaza is the world's largest concentration camp.
Wow.
Which it is. You know, and so again, I'm telling you, don't listen to me. I'm just a Canadian. Hungarian Canadian. Listen to the Israelis who talk like this. Then I went back again last year,
Okay.
2022. I was asked to go and work with Palestinian women as a trauma healer. I was asked to go back and work with Palestinian women who've been tortured in Israeli jails because the torture is relentless. It's, what can I say?
Yeah.
They know how to torture people. One woman told me that she was being interrogated and she began to menstruate. She began to bleed through her clothing. They pointed at her, they mocked her. So I was asked to go back and work with women with PTSD as a result of being tortured in Israeli jails. And one woman told me that there's no post-traumatic stress disorder here because the trauma
Thank
is
you.
never
Take care,
posed.
Simon.
It's ongoing. You know, I mentioned that poll in Canada where most Canadians knew nothing or little about the residential schools. It's the same in Israel.
I was wondering, because most Israelis are good, kind, generous people. Do you think they just are unaware of...
Oh, they're totally unaware.
Yeah.
They have no idea. I have one of my best friends with whom I've maintained a very tenuous relationship the last few years because we so disagree. But he's from here. He lives in Haifa. He's never traveled a few miles that it would take him to witness with his own eyes what's happening in the occupied territories. Just as the average white South African had no idea,
Yeah.
the average Israeli has no idea. All they know is the Arabs keep attacking us,
Yeah.
and they have no idea what they do to them daily. Now, earlier this year, this is 2023, this is October the 26th, we're barely 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks to the date of the horrors of October the 7th. There were pogroms by settlers killing Palestinians all year this year. Nobody reports it. Children being killed. Nobody reports it. When a Ukrainian child dies, his family's story is told in the press. When an Israeli child dies at the hands of Palestinians, the same thing. Palestinian children are anonymous. Their stories don't feature on our newspapers. Their experience, with the exception maybe now of these horrible bombings, but the daily experience of living under the occupation is just whitewashed from people's consciousness. And the few Israelis who talk about it and write about it, and they do, and they document it, most Israelis don't read them. It's too painful. Because to read this would be to go back to your question about identity. To read this stuff and to actually come to terms with it. Just as for an American to come to terms with slavery and the genocide of the indigenous population, they'd have to really come to terms with their identity. And what are they identifying with?
Well, they're not identifying as a perpetrator.
Yeah.
They're probably identifying as a victim.
And that's
I don't want to identify as a perpetrator.
And everybody everywhere, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be a victim of my wife than somebody responsible for.
I think we can all relate to that in our lives.
And I have to emphasize this. On a collective level, this is much more powerful than an individual level. I'm much more likely to question myself and to become aware of myself as a person if I should offend you. I'm much more likely to acknowledge and take responsibility for it than people are on the collective level. And what's his name? Is it Peter Beinart, a religious Jew? He's written very articulately. And he really identifies, well, he's a Jew. I'm not a religious Jew. I'm a secular Jew. I celebrate some of the holidays, but not from the point of view of a faith-based identification with the religion, but certainly as a Jew. But he does it as a religious Jew. And he said recently, in the aftermath of the recent events, is that the identification is such that Jews harboring collective hatred and vengeful feelings towards the Palestinians is a way of Jews bonding with each other. So even hatred and revenge becomes a bond. It's not conscious. It's not because people are bad. That's how the psyche works.
Yeah, and it works on other sides.
It
as
works
well,
that way
yeah.
all around,
Yeah.
you know. The only thing I want to address here is that there's a powerful movement to identify any non-Jewish criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And any non-Jew, and maybe you've experienced this, even if you have certain feelings and opinions on this subject,
Yeah.
you might not dare utter them for fear of hurting Jewish friends
Yeah.
who see every criticism of Israel as anti-Semitism and who have suffered from anti-Semitism
Yeah.
and who live in a world where anti-Semitism continues to be a reality.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to be identified with that. Therefore, you won't say a thing as a non-Jew about Israel because
Yeah.
you're so afraid of being tarred with that brush or adding to that kind of pain.
So, yeah, I was reading. So there was a person a CEO of a company who resigned the other day, and basically he had posted war crimes are war crimes, regardless of who commits them or whether they're allies. And there was such
We are
a
watching a
backlash
call
Yeah.
for
that
healing
he
with
resigned.
Gabor Mate on
And so there is
Palestine and
this
Israel.
very tender nervousness for anybody
And I
to say
just
anything,
finished
or
my
even that
first
Israel
journal
should
entry
follow,
in a
basic
really long time.
protocol of the Geneva Convention or not.
Yeah.
Like you're right. There's such a fear and a
I've
tenderness
done like
around
partial
that.
ones.
So I definitely feel that, and
recently,
also
but
feel like
not
we have
full ones.
responsibility as human beings to
Yeah.
speak to things that alleviate suffering. But there is such a tenderness there that
Yeah,
maybe
it's
you know
good.
it
Here,
better
I'll
and know
post
how
it
to
in the
speak to it.
chat.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think I'm
understand
gonna
that
Anti-Semitism is
be
real and
able
happens.
to
I
make
realize that
that
that's not like I'm not avoiding that fact, but I'm just also acknowledging
stream
that
thing,
all
Dwayne.
of us need
But
to
I
be
am
able to
super
reflect,
down
and
for
all of us
another
need
time
feedback.
to do something like
And
that.
all of us can be perpetrators and
My
victims
Discord's been
sometimes
being
at the same
really
time.
funky,
Absolutely.
And
funky
nobody gets
wonky
a
lately.
pass
A free pass,
that
no.
says you're only a victim no matter what you do
But
in
I
the
hope you
world.
have fun.
Yeah.
Because not
it's a
against
good
them, but
time.
because it's not of
Sounds like
service to
fun.
their own safety and our own healing.
I used to
Ultimately,
watch a
ultimately
lot
it's
of
not.
like Raj Austin
Honestly,
show back in the
really,
day, so
check
I think
yourself.
that kind of stuff is fun.
Do you have anti-Semitic feelings? You might. If you do, examine them.
Mm-hmm.
And until you're sure, don't say much or anything. But don't
I
let
did
the
Beat
charge
Saber
itself
today.
intimidate you
I
from speaking your conscience.
journaled. It's
Just
all
don't
before
give them
1
that victory.
p.m.
It is being weaponized.
Proud of myself.
Yeah.
Quite consciously.
Got
as
on
a way of shutting
stream right
people up.
away.
A Canadian
I am gonna
member of
take a little
legislation
nap
in
though
Ontario
because
was
I'm
censured
streaming
and
again later.
expelled from her party for speaking
Ah,
out
gotta
for
pay the
on
bills,
part of
you
the
know.
Palestinians. I've had a major lecture at a Canadian university cancelled because of
I actually think
somebody's
I'm gonna
implication.
finish this later, but I posted it in my Discord and I posted it in chat if you guys want to finish watching it. Yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for joining my impromptu little morning stream. I might be back on here later tonight. If not, I will be back tomorrow. But yeah. Bye guys. See you later. Farewell.